Dave Rubin was at an event hosted by Representative Dan Crenshaw. This was some sort of youth summit in Houston, Texas, meant to, support other conservatives like Dan Crenshaw to, kind of take the mantle after Donald Trump loses his power, which I'm actually kind of shocked at how transparent the whole point of the event was. But nonetheless, all that is actually pretty unimportant. The important part, or the fun part, I should say, is how Dave Rubin is literally, like, he's paid to be self-deprecating and a useful idiot, okay? So he goes up on stage. This is prior to like a Blink 182 cover band playing, and he says, I know, this room is absolutely jam-packed. I'm fairly certain no one is going to die here.
Okay, that's hilarious.
So he's referring to coronavirus, of course. No one is masked. There's about 1,900, according to reports, students there at this youth summit. And he's like, this room is absolutely jam-packed. I'm fairly certain no one's gonna die here.
Yeah, first of all, that's just a hilarious way to start. But it's fitting for right-wingers. They get together and go, we're fairly certain no one's going to die here. But we're not really sure because we're part of a death cult. So, I mean, we're trying to give each other coronavirus because nobody's masked and probably most of you are not vaccinated. And probably everybody's got guns. We're fairly certain no one's gonna die, okay? But let's see if we can make it through. That's the hilarious state of the right wing in this country. And secondly, the reason he said it, obviously is speculation, but my guess is, because there's no way Dave isn't vaccinated. Oh, totally. He gonna protect himself for sure, okay? So he goes and sees all those knucklehead, unvaccinated, unmasked Republicans, and it gives him the heebie-jeebies, right? And he's like, ugh. And so it's running through his head the whole time. Am I gonna get it? Am I gonna get it? Am I gonna get it? Could this endanger me? So he comes out on stage and he's like, we're fairly certain we're not gonna die here tonight, right? Right?
I'm truly certain.
Fairly certain.
All right, no, but I thought that was gonna be the best part. And so I decided to go through the video of the event, hoping to find that snippet, but I found so much more.
Oh, fun.
So quick note before we go to this video. He's still banking off of, I used to be on the left when I worked at TYT. Like he's still mentioning TYT because that's all he's got. One trick pony. Giddy up, that's all Dave Rubin has. But it gets even sadder from there, okay? Because they brought him on to talk about the recall election in California. And it's so clear that they pay him to not just promote right-wingers and right-wing ideas, but to be incredibly self-deprecating, to literally call himself stupid. And he does that in this clip. Let's watch.
I'm interviewing Larry Elder, and I'm still on the left, and Larry is he described himself as a small L libertarian, but in essence a conservative. And I start talking to him about systemic racism, and I'm sure many of you have seen the clip, but he just beat me senseless with facts. And I kept saying, well, systemic racism has to exist because there's racism and there's a system, and those are two words, and I put them next to each other, and there's gotta be something there. And he just beat me senseless, and I truly believe this. My best and worst career moment were at the exact same time. And I don't know how many people can say that, but it was obviously my worst career moment because I went into a fight, an intellectual battle, not ready, not armed properly to argue with the guy who is a fact machine. But then I think it was my best moment too, because when I went into the control room after, and we had a big crew at the time, it was before my show was fully independent, with all these producers, and everybody said to me, we weren't airing it live, it wasn't live streamed, everybody said, Dave, we'll edit that before we put it up tomorrow. And without even thinking about it, I was like, no, that was a true moment. And if I am to do this as an interviewer and someone that wants to get ideas across, I know I don't look good, but we have to air it. And then what happened the next day was the clip, it was like, Larry, black conservative destroys libtard. And and I was like, oh, here we go.
When Dave Rubin was working here, his producer was his husband, David Janet. So he just threw his own husband under the bus because he just claimed that David Janet said, we'll edit that video. Yeah. Why would you do that, Dave? Why would you throw your own husband under the bus like that?
Okay, so look, I don't care who makes the decision, but what it goes to is mindset, okay? Yeah. So there's two amazing parts of that video. I'm so glad you found it.
Yeah.
So number one is him saying, look, everybody makes some mistakes. I made one earlier today. We were joking around about it, and being self-deprecating about that is no problem. That's why when you started talking about self-deprecation, I was like, oh, that's not an issue.
No, this
is different.
Yep.
He didn't say I made a mistake. He said I went in unprepared.
Yes.
I didn't know what the hell I was talking about, and I was intellectually overmatched. Well, then why did you go in unprepared? And so
that's all he did. I mean, the guy has never had an original thought if his life depended on it. That was the thing that was incredibly frustrating about him, right? Because while he was here, he would come in for a 30-minute-a-week show that was 100% prepared and produced by his husband, who was his producer, and he'd be like, why aren't I making a lot of money doing this crap? And it's like, because you don't deserve it, bro. Like, read something, have an original thought, do actual analysis. By the way, he said, Larry Elder beat me senseless with facts. I went into an intellectual battle without being armed with facts. The metaphors he uses are so cheesy, and he does it over and over again. He talks about how Elder was a fact machine.
He's so embarrassing. It's humiliating, man. He gets like they're basically having him dance out there. It's really hard to watch. 100%. It's like stomach churning. So but back to the editing. So when people leave this network, there's only a couple of them, but they wind up like desperate. And he talked about how his show went independent there. That's when he's got to make money on his own. And then they get super desperate and they start lie after lie after lie. And so one of the lies that they said is, oh, TYT edits the videos in a way that makes looks people. That's the furthest thing from the truth. On interviews, we never edit them. And it's a point of pride for us, right? The only time, and get a load of this, the only time we've ever edited a video is because at the end of a debate that Dave Rubin had with Steve-O and some others on this show, he was so humiliated that he came up to me hat in hand and said, could you take that last part out?
Talk about what the issue was, Cenk.
It was about the Israeli military killing children. And Steve had asked him about, hey, what if it was your kids in the school? Well, then you wouldn't bomb it, right? But if it's Palestinian kids in the school, you don't mind bombing it. And that's true, and he didn't have a good answer because he was not intellectually prepared for that battle.
Steve-O was a fact machine.
Yeah, apparently he was. So, but again, he gets overwhelmed by progressives in that case, even though he's pretending to be a progressive at the time. He gets overwhelmed by the right wing, he gets overwhelmed by everybody because it isn't about the facts. He doesn't care, it's just a grift for him. He's like, what flavor do you need me to be? Do you need me to be vanilla left or vanilla right? Okay, yeah. And so that's the scam he's running, and it's just, and now even the right wing knows it, so they are having trouble, like they're cringing when they look at him. Oh, that's the guy we pay to dance.
Yeah. But you know what? At least Dave Rubin doesn't have to worry about, well, he's fairly certain that no one in that room is gonna die.
Fairly certain.
Like that.
Fairly. By the way, there are a lot of great ways to watch the Young Turks, but is there a best way? Of course, the best way is to watch live. Tune in weekdays, 6 p.m. Eastern, 3 p.m. Pacific. You get our uncensored, unapologetic version of the news that you won't get anywhere else. Watch us live.